r/ProRevenge.
I'm not left-handed. I'm also not allergic to poison ivy. Sorry for the Princess Bride reference, I thought it made a better title. I just remembered this experience when I was over on another thread and realized, this would be perfect for petty revenge. But, that sub won't let me post it, no matter how much I soften it down, because they think all of you are a bunch of whittled babies who can't handle the horrors of poison freaking ivy. So, fuck 'em. I'll just post it over here. And I'll return it to its original form when I first found out they wouldn't let me. Okay. On to the show. So, I'm one of the few people who aren't allergic to either poison ivy or poison oak. A superpower I once used for evil. Small evil. Not the bad kind. When I was in the Boy Scouts, it was still a quasi-paramilitary organization and we went on a camping trip for a jamboree one summer. I was about 13 or 14 at the time. This particular jamboree had us camping all week long with our local National Guard. They instructed us that week on shooting the M14 and M16 as well as the M2 and M249 machine guns. They also instructed us on pathfinding and had us running a 10-mile course through the Arkansas countryside. I suppose I should mention that I absolutely hated most of the scouts in my troop. Half of them were psychopaths, one of them chopped a kid's finger off after the kid dared him to, and the rest were a bunch of little entitled D-bags. So I really didn't have a single friend in scouts. Ever. It's one of the reasons I eventually quit. Towards the end of the jamboree, shortly after I woke up on Saturday morning, our head scout, an Eagle Scout no less, whacked me in the forehead with the butt end of a knife that he was using to eat peanut butter, directly from the jar. Why? I don't know. Just because I was there, and he felt like it. I guess. Now. The day before, while we were doing some basic reconnoitering of our course, I happened upon a patch of poison ivy, and noted its location on my pathfinding map. After the silverware incident, I honestly hadn't really thought of getting back at him or any of his other psychopathic sycophants, who thought me getting thumped in the head was funny. However, when it came time for me to take over on our pathfinding march, we were only a couple hundred yards from that patch of poison ivy I found the day before. I didn't know if anyone else knew it was there, but I had an opportunity, and if the Boy Scouts taught me anything, it was. Whenever an opportunity presented itself, you be a man. And fucking go for it. Alrighty, if you insist. The best part was, because it was July, we were all wearing shorts. I marched us straight through that patch, and not one single scout, tenderfoot, life or eagle, identified it. They were completely, beautifully oblivious. I had the best night I had ever had on any camping trip in Scouts just a few short hours later, as I listened to the cries of every single scout in my troop as they went absolutely mad from the horrible pain and itching that poison ivy causes. And, the cherry on top? Not one of us. Nor any of the other troops, nor even the National Guard guys, had even a single fucking drop of calamine lotion. It was the most cathartic revenge I've ever experienced. After all of the bullshit and bullying I had put up with from those little Lord of the Flies fuckwads, the sweet sounds of their suffering lulled me gently to sleep that night. We had to break camp immediately the next morning. Dang it. I was just starting to have fun. I don't know what the National Guard guys had planned for that day, but I didn't care. I never wanted to go on that jamboree in the first damn place. I got home early on Sunday, and it was one of the best day ever, as I happily returned to a wonderful shower, a clean bed and our lovely, lovely air conditioning. I love you, air conditioning. You'll be my best friend, won't you? Yeah. You never let me down, air conditioning. I can always count on you. Okay. Maybe I can see why they deleted it the first time, but I seriously tried everything to make this as rated G as possible and their filter just wasn't having it.
A response to the post.
One year, I was on the crew preparing the site for a big Ren fair. Part of the job was clearing out all the brush that had built up in the area. We are happily going at it with commercial weed whackers, machetes and chainsaws. Suddenly the crew chief stops us, points out the poison oak that was growing in the next patch. He showed it to us up close and explained what to look for and why we didn't want to go into the area. He got on the radio and called Danny to come clean up the patch. A few minutes later, up walks this guy wearing just shorts and boots, carrying a weed whacker and a rake. Checked the wind and told our crew chief which direction was upwind. We started work on another area that was upwind and Danny went to town on the poison oak patch. It all went into its own pile and the truck came up just for that pile, which Danny loaded himself. Turns out Danny was immune to poison ivy and oak and got paid extra to take out the patches.
A response to this comment.
I was this person when I interned at Georgia's State Botanical Garden, until I glued it in front of the poison ivy one too many times.
A response to the post.
Should have yelled piss break just to see how many would drag their willies over the poison ivy.
OP's response to this comment.
100% unnecessary. Poison ivy spreads when you touch it. All of them had it all over their junk long before they ever felt the first symptoms. That's actually one of the worst things about poison ivy. You inadvertently spread it before you even feel its initial effects. But I like the way you think, cowboy, if I'm ever in the market for a henchman.
A response to the post.
I have never had an accidental poison ivy reaction, nor have I ever purposefully touched poison ivy, so I am not sure if I have the same superpower or not. Knock on wood.
A response to this comment.
Both my dad and my niece have been hospitalized due to their reactions. I will not tempt fate.
A response to the post.
I am also not allergic to poison ivy. Years ago, as a teen, a guy I was dating took me to the beach with his family for a reunion-type adventure they hosted each year. As couples do, we sat quite close together on the drive and he draped his arm across my shoulders. By that evening the telltale blisters had started popping up and we spent the weekend wondering where he could have come in contact with it. When we arrived home after the long weekend, my dad also had a pretty rough case of poison ivy. Apparently, the day we left, my dad was doing laundry and had taken my clothes out of the dryer. I got home from work, showered, and threw clean clothes on before heading out. Those plants are nasty little buggers.